Straya, NBA Straya, how are you going? Yeah, I hope you're right. You should be. Why is that, Jimmy, to Monday? Yeah, well, it's Monday, January 20. You've still got, like, the rest of January just to be chill and do no work, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's how we all operate. That's how I operate, at least. Don't tell the boss, but still. It's like, until we get past Jan 26 and the squids are back in school, I'm doing just, like, nothing. It's great. I'm obviously not doing anything. I do a lot of prep for this and the NFL show at this time of year, just so. But anyway, I hope you're doing very little. It is Monday, Jan 20, and I am your host, James Clements. You can see my ugly mug on the panel, the official NBL Supercoach show. Had a good one this week. The AFL Today show, which is back way too soon. NFL Australia, which is going to be a cracker this week, considering the Gaz's Eagles made the NFC title game. I'm here in Larry Armour Studios just to wrap up a big weekend of NBA basketball. Jimmy Butler's back. That's funny. The Celtics are a mess, and Dyson Daniels beat them. That's also funny. Draymond Green got injured again. That's not that funny, is it? Maybe. No, it's all right. We'll do weekend winners and losers. We'll wrap up all the games from the weekend. We've got That's on the Night, followed made Spud of the Night, better than Lonzo Ball. We've got some ENRs. We've got the Unpopular Opinion of the Day. We've got an Outback Takehouse as well, where we're serving up a flame grill take. There is an Andrew Gay's Great MAMBA Award for Outstanding Team in the Field of Excellence, and a pick and preview for all the games tomorrow. There's a couple of crackers in there too, which will be very nice. All right. So without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 1189 of NBA Straya. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gay.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek.
This is Mick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
Wah, you better watch out for the cricket attack if you're the squid. Squid and I went to the cricket both Saturday and then I went Sunday with a mate of mine, which is very fun. Took the squid to the Renegades game at Marvel. Shout out to the folks who said g'day as I'm just walking around. It is pretty funny having, like, you know, the squid, the oldest squid in tow. And anytime, like, I'm like chatting to somebody who's going, hey, Jimmy, NBA Straya, woo, it's awesome. And he's just sort of standing there going, Dad, I'm bored. It's amazing. I'm like, just chill. Just hang out for like 2 seconds. He had a great time though. Tell you what, having the roof open at Marvel, I yell about it all the time on AFL Today, but there's nothing better. But it was a good weekend. The problem was, we couldn't get tickets to that Southeast Melbourne Magic Phoenix game on the weekend. And it's like, we haven't gone to the cricket this year. Let's do it. And he was stoked after watching a bunch of the BBL while we're down the beach. Yeah, it's like, shit. Yeah. And then last night, sat there and drank a million tins with a mate of mine at the Stars game. Good weekend for the cricket, I tell you. But also, it just meant I watched the crap ton of basketball because your mate Jim was a bit hungover at times. Right. So without further ado, let's get into it with the daily. I believe it's some sort of, is it a whip around? Oh, yes, how it is. Hey, Jimmy Butler's back. How funny is that? It's like just 100%. It's like this weird spurned lover. Just, let's just not mention this, like, ever again. It's like when John Lennon just pissed off to LA and, like, left Yoko. Here we go, a bit of music for you. Have you ever heard about that? Everyone's like, oh, John Lennon, what a dude. It's like, nah, he was just a bit of a piece of shit for a bit of it, I reckon. And then he had his, like, lost summer, and he just fucks off to LA and, like, hangs out with Harry Nilsson and stuff and just, like, goes hammer and tongs. You're like, yeah, well paid. Anyway, Jimmy Butler comes back to the Heat, and they're all pretending like nothing happened. It's like, oh, okay, cool. They got their heads kicked in, but then also, like, got a really good win today against the Spurs. So that was fun. Still going to get traded, though, isn't he? Speaking of which, another name that's been popping off in the Jimmy Butler chat is Brad Beal, right? So Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause and $1 bajillion like 100 million, like 2 years of 50 million plus the next couple of years on his contract. But the problem is, with the no trade clause, Brad Beal's like, well, if I don't want to go there, I'm not going to go there, which is pretty great. But his name has now popped off in relation to the Milwaukee Bucks. So here it's Algonquin for the good land. This is all part of the Jimmy Butler. Oh, maybe he could go to the Bucks. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to go to the Bucks. I don't want to go to Memphis. I don't want to go to Milwaukee. I just want to go to Phoenix. And so they're getting into this weird sort of situation where if Brad Beal maybe, just maybe goes, I don't need a no trade clause. I'll go play over there. I'm sick of bloody Kevin Durant and Devin Booker just like giving me the cold shoulder. Anyway, see yous. Peace. Maybe. So basically you can sort of see maybe Beal going from the Suns to the Bucks. But going to the Suns. Miami get a couple of players and a couple of draft picks somehow. Bit of a weird one. A lot of machinations. We'll see if it happens, but either way. Speaking of trade gear, Cam Johnson, the Nets are apparently looking for 2 first-rounders for Cam Johnson, who is like suddenly like the hottest commodity on the trade market, which is hilarious because he's fine. But he's also like that sort of, if you're a contender and you sort of need just to upgrade that wing spot, he's kind of ideal. He's young, contract's locked away. Don't mind it. So couple of first rounders. The 2 teams that are apparently interested in Cam Johnson and paying that price, the Pacers and the Kings. The Kings would be an interesting one. You have to send like Trey Lyles and Kevin Huerter, and as well as like a pick or 2 out. And to be honest, I'm always like in favor of having and owning the Sacramento Kings pick because history tells us it's going to be a good one. Anyway, Pacers, it's like, I don't know, how's that fit when you've got Benny Mathurin, Halliburton, Siakam, you've got Naismith back now as well. I don't know. He's probably just a pretty handy upgrade over Naismith, obviously, if you want to play Siakam at the 4 next to Turner as they do. So that kind of makes sense. I like those ones. Speaking of which, in between of forwards, Patch Williams in one of the great doers of history. Are you ready? The Bulls are looking for a trade partner for Patrick Williams. Ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. Oh, duh! Oh, is it because he's shit? Hey, guys, yeah, we want to get rid of this guy. What is it, Chicago? Oh, it's definitely not because he doesn't know how to play basketball and he's fucking bad at it. He's so bad. It's amazing. One of the lowest IQ players I've watched play like a lot of basketball, right? Dude's like a bench player in college, has this $90 million 5-year contract that he signed last year. So he's in the first year of it. And you're like, okay, it's a player option in 28-29. Do you reckon he's going to pick that up? Maybe. He's still quite young. We get that. But my favorite thing about the reporting from this is that Chicago are like, yeah, he's just not buying into what the coaches want him to do. It's like, how the fuck did you not know that before you gave him $90 million when no one else was going to do that? Like, what are we doing here? Chicago, you're a fucking joke of an organization. That is like the decision-making around Patch Williams, the decision-making around keeping Levine, keeping Vooch, like getting Josh Giddey for Caruso, that's fine, but they could have also traded Caruso for like a king's ransom last year and they just held on to him too long. They've still got Lonzo. They've still got Kobe White. Ayo, Dosunmu. But they keep just like missing on these draft picks. It is shocking gear from the Bulls. And it breaks my heart because there is nothing more fun in basketball when the Bulls are good and fun. And at the moment, they're neither. We'll talk about them again later. Brandon Miller. This is a bit of the injury part. Brandon Spindles Miller, surgery on his wrist with a torn ligament there. That's not good, so he's out indefinitely. That sucks, because when he was out there with LaMelo, with Miles Bridges, that piece of shit, Mark Williams, who's been crushing it, and Josh Green, the Hornets are fun and chaos and pretty good. But now they lose Spindles Miller. Yeah, gurgler. Draymond is out with the left calf strain after just coming back last game, so he's like, yeah, I'm old. And Chet Holmgren's going to be reevaluated in 3 to 5 weeks with his pelvic fracture. Hope he's not been doing too much rodent. All right, let's do some game wraps before we do the weekend winners and losers. Game wraps. Rewind back to Saturday. Orlando got smashed by Boston. I'll talk about Orlando in the weekend winners and losers, but yeah, it's just not great at the moment. 94-121. Boston needed that one. Minnesota kicked the crap out of the Knicks on a back-to-back 116-99. Knicks offense never got going. Ant-Man had a really good game, 36-13-7. He was unreal. Denver smoked Miami 133-113. The Joker has 2 triple-doubles over the weekend. They got 30 from Jamal on this one. Butler returned in 33 minutes. He had 18, 3, and 2. Not bad, good size. The Bucks kicked the shit out of Toronto 130-112 because the Raptors are bad and the Bucks are good. 35-13 for Giannis. Big weekend for him. The Greek Freak. The New Orleans Pelicans were the Pelicans, not the Pelicans, because they got 24-14 and 6 from Zion. They smashed the Yaz. It's a soft J. 136-123. Charlotte, Chicago. It's the Ball Bowl. What do you mean there, Jim? The Ball Bowl, right? On one side, you got Lonzo. On the other, you've got LaMelo. And LiAngelo was there, looking like a giant fucking ding-dong. Go look at the photo. Oh, God, it's hilarious. Timu Elf. Anyway, Charlotte win this one, 125-123. Insane game. I was watching this one just going, this is nuts. This is awesome. At the start of the fourth quarter, I think Charlotte ripped off like a 21-2 run, get back in to get the lead. Chicago answer with a 12-0 run. Comes down to 1-point game. Vooch misses a 3. Levine gets the rebound, misses the shot, and Charlotte win. It was just nuts. Vooch had 40 and 13, and it wasn't enough. Oh, that's an audition game. 19-19 for Mark Williams. Charlotte, that was a really good win. Enjoyed that. OKC got stomped by Dallas 106-98 after OKC just curb stomped Cleveland the night before.
Cleveland!
Because they didn't have SGA. Yeah, it was out with a wrist. Oh, yeah, it's a back-to-back, and we don't want to just run him into the ground. Dallas went bang in the second quarter and just put this one to bed. It was like 41-17. Kyrie had 25, 5 and 5. Good win for Dallas. They desperately needed a couple of wins. They've sort of just been blah the last little bit. Brooklyn played the Lakers in an incredible game as well. 102-101. The Lakers won. And 102-101. D'Lo had a chance to win it though. A bit of revenge. Guess what D'Lo did? D'Lo missed. Yeah, who could have seen that one coming at all? I don't know.
It's a trap!
Yeah. Sunday, we had Phoenix get by Detroit thanks to Kevin Durant. A couple of daggers down the stretch, 125-121, and a very entertaining game. Booker and KD both went off. We'll talk about them in a second. Boston, Atlanta. This game was an absolute cracker. Atlanta win at 119-115 because Dyson Daniels is a hashtag weapon. Seriously, he put the clamps on Jason Tatum down the stretch. At the end of regulation, then in overtime, hit the runner. Boom. They get the win, 119-115. He and Trae Young were fantastic. So that was really good. Atlanta, awesome. I'm going to pop up again in a second. Philly, curb stomped. No, wait, Indy, curb stomped Philly. There we go, 115-102. Philly just pour one out. Their season is Dunskies. Golden State beat Washington in the Jordan Poole game, 122-114. Cleveland smoked Minnesota 124-117, 36-8-7 for Donnie Mitchell. Not a bad game. Houston crushed Portland like a grape as well, 125-103. Alpi Şengün has 23-15-6. But Scoot Henderson was good. That's important because he was good again today. Hashtag spoiler alert for weekend winners. And then today we had San Antonio. This was a weird game. Miami were down 30-20. And then went on a 72-38 run to take control of this game and just run over the top of the Spurs because Khalil Ware outplayed Wemby. Sure. Timu Wemby. It was 30-20. And then it was 11-26 in the second quarter and 46-27 in the third quarter. And the Heat were just like, it's our game now. Look at me, I'm the captain now. 20-14-10 for Joker. Christian Brown had 20 as Denver smoked Orlando. Problems there in Orlando. They shot 37% from the floor versus 51% for Denver. I'll talk about them in a second, but yeah, worrying. Milwaukee, it's Algonquin for the good land because they smoked Philly as well, 123-109. It took a bit for the Bucks to actually get by this MASH Unit Sixers team. They didn't have Paul George, didn't have Embiid, obviously. Maxey had 37. But they hit a bunch of threes at the start of the fourth, did Milwaukee, basically to blow this one open. It's like Dame and Splash Mountain hitting a couple of threes, and it's like, yep, we've got this one. And Giannis, again, 34-15-6, just taking the piss. OKC smashed Brooklyn. it wasn't even this close. Like 127-101. They basically just put the Q in the rack. I think the big problem for Brooklyn, like, it's great tanking, though. We'll talk about them in weekend winners and losers, but yeah, D'Lo, 24 minutes, 2 of 6. Just find yourself someone who doesn't like basketball as much as D'Lo. The Thunder started Jalen Williams, SGA, Isaiah Joe, Dort, and Kaysen Wallace. That's a very small lineup, but SGA obviously was back, which is handy. And Alex Dukas, we're going to talk about him later. Career high. You're beauty. Dukas, mate. Dukas, mate, he shined. All right. Goods Ramstein. Clippers, 116-102. Big win in the Battle of LA. You're like, oh, geez, LeBron was good, 25, 5, and 11. AD had 16 and 10. AD got outplayed by Zoobs, 21 and 19. Kawhi had 19 points. Harden had 21 and 12. Norm Powell had 22, and they smoked them. 116-102. The Lakers, just a bit of a rough one. The Nets, the Clippers are not. You got to pay attention. And then, just to rub salt into the Chicago Bulls wound, the Blazers kicked the shit out of them. 113-102. Like, the second half was just a laugher. The second quarter, Portland just beat the brakes off them, 31-19, after the Bulls were up by 12. And you're like, hang on a second. Are we bloody well tied going into the second half? And they're like, yes. And the Blazers are like, check this out. Wha-bang! Kicked their ass from there. They got Denny Avdija back. But Scoot Henderson was fan-bloody-tastic again. 25, 7, and 8. Scoot's back. Oh, yeah. But Denny, he also came back from, what was his injury? It was like I want to say an ankle. And he had 20 and 12. He's awesome. So that was good. Blazers, that's a good win. Don't know if you need it, but the Bulls, that's a bloody disaster. And then finally, Sacramento kicked the shit out of Washington, where the biggest thing of note was that we had brothers playing against each other, I think. Oh, no, that was in the Clippers-Lakers. You had the Christie brothers playing against each other. In the Kings-Wizards one, you had Isaiah Crawford get on and score right at the end, and everyone like lost their minds and like they're like, fire's a laser! So from Louisiana Tech, Isaiah Crawford gets out there. That was kind of neat. But they killed him. Sabonis smashed it. It was a little bit closer than it should have been, and then, again, they outscored them by 10 down the fourth quarter and win 123-100. So, let's do some NBA Straya winners, weekend winners, and losers.
Oh my God. I won! I won! Ah! Recapping our day's top story, the winner of today's state lottery is
me, Cam Brockman. And I got a shit of me. There we go. Atlanta, big weekend winners. That was a really crazy win over Boston. I get it. But that's kind of the thing. They're not afraid of anybody. Like Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, they're this sort of perfect complement. If Trae Young can just keep hitting fucking shots, like they were laughing. But the way that they go about it is, it'd be infuriating if you're actually a Hawks fan. Because you're like, can we just do this against everybody? And the Hawks are like, nah. But they've now won 3 on the trot, right? They've beaten the Suns, the Bulls, and the Celtics. They smoked the Bulls. They handled the Suns. And it sort of came after a bit of a rough road trip where they lost against the Nuggets, the Lakers, and the Clippers, and the Suns. They threw in a win against Utah in there too. But they're 22-19, and they're actually currently on top of the Southeast. I mean, yeah, divisions don't really matter too much, but like that's how well they're going at the moment. They're currently 6th in the East as well. Basically tied on losses with the Pacers. And like half game up on the Magic. So it's pretty handy. They also got DeAndre Hana back, which is kind of cool. Jalen Johnson back. Onyeka Okongwu dominated the Celtics, who didn't have any big men. They started Luke Cornett. They don't get the zinger back until I think later this week. No Al Horford either. Who could have seen that coming? You know, extremely old people and the zinger. That's right, the extreme zinger meal.
Extreme zinger meal.
But Tatum struggled, Jaylen Brown struggled, Derek White struggled, and the Hawks are just 14 and 13 from Jalen Johnson, 28 and 11 from Trae Young. Dyson Daniels, an unreal game, 23, 4 and 4. That was unreal. They're awesome, and they're terrifying. Like if you just think about a playoff matchup, they're 5 at the moment. Oh, 5. Well, they're 6. So if you are the 3 seed, you're like, oh, come on, man. Like the Knicks are like, Jesus, I don't want to play these dudes. Can we be the 2 seed? Bloody hell. And the way the Celtics are playing, who knows what could actually happen there. Memphis. They only played the one game on the weekend, but they look good. Just wanted to say, yeah, keep an eye out for Memphis. Same with Dallas, right? A couple of Memphis just beat the shit out of the Spurs, and Dallas beat OKC with OKC resting SGA. Two really good wins for two teams that desperately sort of needed it, and especially Dallas. Like they're on this sort of weird no Luka kick where they lost 3 on the trot. A couple of games to Denver, and then they lost to the Pelicans. And you're like, oh, this is not great, but to just get a nice sort of settling win against the Thunder was very, very good. So good job. Yes, it was without SGA, but still, you'll take it. The Nuggets, same sort of vibe. A couple of good, solid road wins on the Floridia trip. That's right. Miami, Orlando. They got back-to-back Jokic triple-doubles. They've won 6 of 7. They're back up to 4th in the West. The Nuggets are looking pretty good. And it's one of those things where you get Aaron Gordon back. You're still starting Christian Brown. Everyone's flying around. Rusty's playing really well. When it clicks for Denver, they look fucking unbeatable. When it doesn't click, they look eminently beatable, which is the worry. But still, getting some games into the young dudes, you love to see that. New Orleans, same sort of vibe. They've won 3 on the trot. They're actually now off the bottom of the West. They're 11-32. Amazingly, though, they're still 11 games out of the play-in. So they've got to figure out what the fuck they're doing, right? They're like, oh, we're 21 games under 500. What do we do? We've got Dejounte Murray, CJ McCollum, and Zion, and Spindles Ingram, and like some awesome defensive wings that we love. But we're 11-32. The Pelicans are such a weird, sneaky sleeper right now. Keep an eye on them. The Pacers got a really good win over shorthanded Philly. They've won 8 of 9 now. They're up to 5th in the East. And I think more importantly, they're weekend winners because they're just getting healthier. Right? Like they've got way more of their dudes back than you sort of think. Naismith came back this week. And they beat the Pistons the other day. They turn around, they beat the Sixers. Yeah, it's not too much chop because the Sixers don't have anybody. But you've now got Halliburton, Mathurin, Nemhard, Siakam, Turner. You've got Naismith and ain't no stopping. Obi Toppin. You've put some minutes into Jarris Walker. You've got Thomas, not Kobe Bryant, as your backup big. You've got TJ McConnell and Shepherd doing their thing off the bench. The Pacers are like the Pelicans. Like they're just getting healthy. They've just got a way better record than the Pelicans. So, sneakily awesome. Just saying. Milwaukee! Massive weekend for Giannis. Couple of 34-point games. 24-17. They've won 4 on the trot. They're up to 4th in the East. 24-17. They're feeling good. Just sometimes you just have to get like those sort of pesky wins under your belt, right? Like you've got to kick the shit. They beat so go back to last week. They kicked the shit out of the Kings. They just belt the fucking brakes off the Magic. Same thing with the Raptors, and then the same thing with the Sixers. These 4 games, I think the lowest margin of victory was like 14. So that's pretty bloody good. Let's go Bucks. And I think that's now. So they've won 7 of their last 8 too. Bucks looking all right. Phoenix, they're back up above 500. Yes, their last 4 wins were Washington, Detroit, Charlotte, and Utah, but those are still wins rather than losses. Devin Booker is playing out of his fucking mind at the moment, so fingers crossed they just stay healthy, right? That's all they want. And then finally, I mentioned Portland. Scoot! Like, it doesn't matter what happens really this year. They just want to, it's like, wait, is Scoot good? Like, that's almost everything this Portland season should be about, right? It's like, we've got Denny Avdija on an awesome contract, radical. We're going to play Robert Williams, and we can trade him, and that's going to be a good thing for us and for Time Lord. But mostly, we just want to know if Scoot's good, and if he can play with Shaedon Sharpe, and if Shaedon Sharpe's good, and if Anthony Penny-Simons fits, away we go. And Scoot's been really good. 21-11 against Houston, 25-8 against Chicago today, and looks confident, looks handy. Loved it. So that's very, very, very cool if you're Portland. Outside of that, I think Cleveland, they got a really good win over the Wolves. That was a fun one. The Wolves are just still a mess, so I'm going to talk about them in a second. But Donnie Mitchell going absolutely toe-to-toe with Ant-Man. And Cleveland are 35-6 and absolutely crushing it. So good job by them after getting their heads kicked in by OKC. Anyway, let's do some losers. Oh, yes.
We're not losers. No, you two are winners. Big winners. When I grow up, I want to marry a big winner like you guys.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Losers.
Loser. Loser.
Losers. That's right, Boston. But geez, Jim, we were starting Luke Cornett. Yep, I don't really care. Like, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum shooting like, I don't know, 1 for a bajillion. You beat the hell out of Orlando on Saturday. Yeah, that's cool. You got to turn around and win that Atlanta game, though. What are you doing, Boston? I'm just keeping an eye on that Boston situation. Right. Because they just can't string wings together. They've gone, I think I've mentioned this last week, right? They haven't won more than 3 in a row, like dating back to like November. But their last bunch of games, they've gone loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And they're now like 29-13. Like, they're only 2.5 games up on the Knicks in the standings, just saying. So keep an eye on that. Anyway, not good. Philly! They got Drummond back. It's still. They've lost 6 in a row. They're 15-26, and that might be almost all she wrote. The thing is, and this will be the thing for Sixers fans, there's always still a bit of hope because you're still only 2 games. Because the Chicago Bulls are that shit, and like that mid-tier in the East is so eminently beatable. Like, the Bulls still might tank, and almost by default, the Sixers might vault into the 10 spot, right? And into the play-in. Because they're only 2 games behind the Bulls for the 10 spot. There's a big jump then up to, like, amazingly enough, the Pistons are at 500. And the Heat, who are 1 game above 500, right? So there's, like, basically 3.5 games between you and the Pistons and 4 games between you and the Heat. So you sort of just have to get Paul George healthy and Embiid healthy. The thing is, it's already most of the way through January, and we're half the way through the season, to the point where Jim's going to be doing his like halfway mark MVPs and all that sort of gear tomorrow. That you, speaking of 11 games under 500, like that's what the Sixers are. That's just brutal. So it's not getting any better. They stink. Like, losing Jared McCain was such a kick in the dick. Spurs, they're 1-6 in their last 7. It's one of those ones where you're like, oh, yeah, not having your coach is a bit shit. But they've sort of slipped off the pace just a little bit because of that. They've lost 3 on the trot. They're 19-22. And so they're 2 games back of the Suns and the Warriors in the 10 and 11 spot. So the Spurs are all the way down in 12. And they will have to play really, really, really good basketball, right? To sort of skip ahead of like the Warriors, the Suns, the Kings, the Wolves, or the Mavs. It's going to be a big ask. So you can't be dropping like 6 of 7, basically, if you're San Antonio. Bit of a tough one. Charlotte. Oh, but Jim, they won 2 straight after a 10-game losing streak. Yeah, but losing Spindles Miller basically means that that's probably your season done again. I think we've seen LaMelo, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, Josh Green. But Miller's the thing that pushes them over the top and turns them into like an actually dangerous team that's also actually fun. They're 10-28. Like, the season is essentially done. Like, they're basically, again, their season is done. They're 18 games under 500. 23.5 games out of first. But I just want LaMelo to stay healthy. You want Miles Bridges, that piece of shit, to stay healthy. You want Josh Green to stay healthy. And you just sort of hope that maybe Spindles Miller comes back at some point. But yeah, this is now like, draft picks, which is just shit. It sucks for Charlotte. Orlando. 13-point loss to Denver after getting their heads kicked in by Boston. Now, I did sort of talk about this for the Magic, right? You get Bada Bankata back, which is good. But having gone through all these weird adjustment periods, it's now a readjustment to having Paolo back that they have to make. And they've lost to the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Nuggets. There's no real shame in that. They beat the Sixers in there as well. And the other games they lost to were the Wolves and to the Bucks. So these 5 games that they've lost in their last 6 have all been pretty tough. And they, beat the Sixers in there too. Paolo, he'll get back up to speed. He'll be okay. But yeah, he had like 4 of 17 shooting today in their loss to Denver or whatever. The bigger problem is that you don't have Suggs back yet either. He's dealing with like the lower back strain. You don't have Franz Wagner. You've lost Mo Wagner. KCP's back. Cole Anthony just can't hit a shot again. It's just going to be a readjustment. Like, they did this when they lost Paolo. it'll be all right. But at the moment, they're sort of slowly just sort of losing touch with that real top echelon of the East, right? They're like now 5 games back of the Knicks, and they're in the 7th spot in the East. They're 23-21. You're still above 500. It's all good, but yeah, it's a bit of a tough one. Speaking of tough ones, tough weekend for Detroit basketball. They drop a tough one to Phoenix that you definitely feel like they could have won. You're like, that's good, but they still lost it. They're back to 21-21. But the big one for me this week, the big weekend losers, if this past week hasn't fucking proven anything to the Chicago Bulls, then just, what are you doing there? Just sell the fucking team, Reinsdorf. Like, you got to do something at this point. This team is an embarrassment. They've lost 5 straight. They've lost to the Kings, the Hornets, and the Blazers in that time, right? They're 18-25. And as I said last week, the key for the Bulls is to stay within 3 games of 500 either side. You can't go 3 games above 500 or 3 games below. Now they're 7 games below 500, and it's just fucking slipping away. Josh Giddey has not been good he had a horrible weekend. I'll talk about that in the Australian Player Watch. Outside of that, you just go, what are we building? Like, we've completely fucking whiffed on the Patch Williams pick. He's a spud. Vooch is good, but he's just doing a great job of building up his trade value right now. And Levine has had this awesome run of 30-point games, and we're still getting your fucking heads kicked in. Lonzo can't play back-to-backs. Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu are like score-first point guards who are really fucking hot and cold. Like, what is this team? It still feels like you need to tear it back down to its studs and rebuild. But do you trust that fucking team to actually build from the studs up? I don't know. Either way, Chicago got some really big questions hanging over their head right now, I reckon. And they better fucking start answering them, because this just keeps happening year in, year out. Like, it's fucking weird. It's such mediocrity, and that's death in the NBA. Like, Reinsdorf's like, oh, it's okay, we made the play-in, hooray. It's like, yeah, cool, you get one more game maybe of fucking gate receipts. Awesome. Do you want to be good or not? Yeah. Anyway, bunch of losers there. I'll tell you that much. It was a rough weekend. All right, let's do an NBA Straya Approved. That's not a knife. That's a knife. Performance of the weekend.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Dyson Daniels, the Great Barrier Thief. Love that one. 23-4-4 and the dagger from Dyson Daniels. But also, love a bit of shining on the clamps. The defense that he played on Jason Tatum in that game. Unreal. That team is not afraid of anybody. Did I mention? Oh, I didn't even mention that, I guess, in the winners. They're 6-1 against the top 3 teams in the East this year. 6-1. They're not afraid. I'm not afraid, Daddy. You know. Jordan Poole had 38 against his old team. Love a bit of revenge. We got 36-35 from KD and Booker in that Detroit game. And they desperately needed it to get by Detroit, which tells you a lot about Phoenix. But hey, Nick Richards, amazing off the bench for Phoenix in his first game. Love that. What was it, like 23-11 or something? It was absolutely insane. I'll just check that because he was real good. And I was spewing that I didn't get him in fantasy. What did he have as a Sun? 21-11. Unreal. Crushed it. Good job, Nick Richards. Of course, Detroit, unknown for their defensive prowess. Ant-Man's 36-13-7, as I mentioned the other day, in a big, big win for the Wolves. They then turned around and lost. In that game that they did lose, Donnie Mitchell, he went absolutely ham. He was so good in that game for the Cavs. 36-8-7 is just ridiculous. As I've already mentioned as well, Giannis, just a couple of back-to-back 34-15-6 today. And on Saturday, he had 35-13. Just... everyone's giving SGA the MVP. Giannis is just out there going, hey, we might be a top 3 seed in the East. We're awesome. SGA is going to get it because he's the best player on the best team. But jeez, chaos gear. Who else do we give a winner to? We have, I think that was it actually. Vooch had the 40 as well. That was fun. But Giannis just smashing the Sixers. And he's had 30-10 in 4 of his last 6. He is absolutely going bloody ham. We could probably give one to Zoobs as well if we wanted to, because he was bloody good. There you go. Let's do a bit of a spud of the night, though.
Spud, 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 spud. It is spud of the night.
Spuds, all right. We got 0 of 7 from Sam Hauser the other day. The Howitzer. 0 of 6 for Dort today. That was brutal. Nick Alexander-Walker went 1 of 10. 2 of 10 for Bobby Portis, fighting round the world. Max Christie against Brooklyn went 2 of 13. 13! 3 of 13 for Jalen Wilson. 13! My fucking voice is going. 4 of 17 for Bada Bankata against Denver. Not a great one. We got a 4 of 11 for Jordan Poole today against the Kings. We got 4 of 12 for Darren Fox in that same game. Bit of a Barry Crocker shocker, that one. And I think for the Bulls, as I sort of was rattling off earlier, he had 4 of 10 for Kobe White. Not ideal. Shaden Sharp went 8 of 18. Not great either. For the Lakers today, he had 5 of 14 for Anthony Davis as well. Being outplayed by Zoobs, not great. It's not great. I'll tell you. And for some of the Nits in today's game as well, 2 of 8 for Zaire Williams, same as for Noah Clowney and D'Lo. Just amazing. Just 3 of 13 for Jalen Wilson, I mentioned, but the D'Lo 2 of 6 in 24 minutes against the Thunder. That dude just gave up. We got 7 of 21 for Tatum against Atlanta, 7 of 26 for Cade Cunningham as well. Lots of spuds around, but I don't believe we ended up actually, amazingly, with a special number. So that's a goddamn shame. I'll just make sure I check that there wasn't any latecomers to the party. But it was a really sort of chaotic weekend in terms of, big scoring games and big results. So not bad. Good size. All right. No special numbers. That's a shame. What can you do? Oh, well, we better move on. Can't play the drop without it. That's how it works. Old mate, no mates.
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 Who's got no mates today? I'll tell you what. Lou Dort got a tech for flopping, which is pretty crazy. So he got like a pretty crazy one. I was looking for a list of who keeps getting foul calls against them, and I'm like, Manu. But there's been a pretty hectic list put together. And it's like Josh Richardson has 3, Moses Moody has 2, Josh Okogie's got 2, Pods has got 2, Javon Carter's got 2, and there's a big list of people with 1. But that was from last year, right? So it's pretty nuts that we've got basically Lou Dort copping one. He trips over Q Grimes and gets a foul for flopping himself. And it was pretty crazy because I think it was we haven't had heaps of those. I think it was since January last year. So Lou Dort, old mate, no mates with the refs. But of course, old mate, no mates in general is Jordan Poole. The way that the Warriors were sort of clowning on him was pretty funny. Gary Payton II untied his shoe while they were standing at the fucking free throw line. And Jordan Poole complained about it to the refs. He's like, "Sir, this other boy's untying my shoes." And the ref came over to chat to GP2 and he's like, "Nah, I didn't do it. He could be lying." And then, of course, Draymond tweeting out after, Jordan Poole said after the game, "I love those guys over there. Oh, well, I love most of those guys over there." Draymond tweeted out, "I really am sorry." Yeah, that dude's got no mates. It's pretty good. Pantsing of the night. LeBron James airballed a free throw. Jeez, Jim, it's a bit random. Yeah, he airballed the free throw in front of the wall at Intuit Dome. How good is that? He's completely just had his spatial awareness screwed up by the wall, and he's airballed a free throw. LeBron James, how many airballed free throws do you reckon he's got in his career? Probably not many. The wall. You're not just another brick in it. But he just bricked it. All right, who is better than Bronny James?
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, "I made it to the pros, now I can be average."
Coming for everybody. That's right. Shaden Sharp had 23, 3 and 3 today. I love me some Shaden Sharp. I mentioned Scoot Henderson already. Austin Reeves against the net had 38 points against Brooklyn. 13 and 23 from the floor, 4 of 8 from downtown, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. But I mentioned him very, very briefly earlier. Khalil Ware for the Miami Heaters. It's an interesting mix where they're playing Khalil Ware a bit more with Bam, and it works. Because basically Kalel Ware guarding in space, not great, but Bam does that pretty well. So defensively it works. Offensively, you need Kalel Ware to start bombing threes. But he had 25, 8, and 2 up against Wemby, who had 21 and 10. So outplayed Wemby? Good job, Timu Wemby. Appreciate that for Kalel Ware. What a legend. He's like the sneaky draft pick this year where you're like, ooh, in the same way that Bam was, you know, what, a million years ago now. It's like, yeah, they've just got themselves a dude. And if he can actually sort of play next to Bam, watch out. How about everyone's favorite tweet of the week? Commanders win! I have to shout out our defense first for setting the tone for the team tonight. We had 5 takeaways, including Martin returning an interception for a touchdown and 2 interceptions by Sainstrill, with 1 in the end zone to keep this Lions from scoring right before the half. At Commanders. Thanks, Magic. I love his football raps. That's awesome. From there, the offense just dominated. Daniels played an incredible game with 299 yards and 0 turnovers, and all of our guys showed up. Robinson Jr. with 2 touchdowns, Ertz with 1 TD, McLaurin with 1 TD, and big runs from Eckler. At Commanders. Amazing. Thanks, Magic. All right, and finally, how about a bit of Dick of the Weekend?
Dickhead of the Week!
The Draymond Green Memorial Dickhead of the Weekend Award goes to, in a surprise twist, Draymond Green. I really am sorry. You know how you see tweets sometimes, and like at the moment, you just like, you can't go on Twitter. It's just a fucking mess. But you sort of see that and you're like, it's a fake account. Nope, it was just his real one, Money 23 Green. I really am sorry. Like, it's just pretty fucking funny. So good on him. I appreciated it. I thought it was funny. So Mark J. Spears tweets out, I love those guys over there. I love most of those guys over there. Wizards guard Jordan Poole said on his former teammates. Draymond Green responds, I really am sorry. Why does he get Dickhead of the Week for that, Jim? Because, what are you doing, Draymond? If you're going to be the villain, fucking lean into it. None of this fucking bullshit. I really am sorry. I think you're taking the piss anyway. Let's do some YNRs right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Giddey.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You listen to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening
Straya.
to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do some YNRs. I got a good one from IMB here. What was it? The call out last Friday, like any sort of feedback on how often you like the shows, what do you want me to do more of, all that sort of gear. He did say, speaking of, I love the daily episodes. I start my day with NBA Straya most days. Thanks, IMB, my favourite painter out there in the West. He does a great job. I got a couple of other folks, good feedback. 3 episodes a week is fine, Jim. A couple of other ones sort of saying 3, 4 is all good. Daily. Yeah. Anyway, let us know what you reckon. Either way, IMB's question was, do you think that young men love LaMelo because of his flashy style and because he's stupid? Yeah, nah. Yeah. 100%. He's a fucking moron. Like, I've got a feeling you'd probably meet fence posts that might be smarter than LaMelo Ball. But you're not going to meet any richer or with a better sense of style. Like, LaMelo is just as dumb as dog shit. But he's flashy as fuck. And, like, if you think about... I talk about the marketing for the NBA a lot, right? And if you go back to, I don't know, your 90s and your 2000s, whenever you grew up watching basketball and sort of falling in love with it, it's a weird one where you go, what were the things that sort of pushed you over the edge and just like fucking absolutely loving a player? And for me, it's Sean Kemp, and no surprise to anybody. If you've been listening to the show, I'm a massive Seattle Supersonics fan. Gary Payton and Sean Kemp were my fucking go-to. But MJ was flashy as fuck. Charles Barkley was flashy as fuck. They also got the job done, right? That's kind of the big difference. So I think you can sort of say the flashiness of you don't want to say Harold Miner, but if you think about Allen Iverson, like the sort of flash there, he was also successful. A lot of those Sixers teams are really good, but you had to build around him and all that sort of gear. If you think about Steve Francis, Stephen Marbury, like the sort of flashier kind of dudes that just sort of flamed out, LaMelo's got a better all-round game than them, but yeah. The thing is, you've also got to like not be on a shit team the entire time for real, like sort of all-encompassing appreciation comes. So at the moment, yeah, I feel like people, and especially as IMB points out, young men love LaMelo because of his flashy style and because he's dumb. It does speak to a wider sort of problem with the marketing in the NBA, but also the dumbness of maybe not, of fans not entirely interrogating what's going on with the NBA as much as they ought to, maybe with LaMelo. Yeah, it's a good one though. Would Brad Beal be a better fit on Milwaukee than Jimmy Butler? Yeah, nah, yes. Whenever Beal's name popped up with Milwaukee in place of Jimmy Butler, I was like, ooh, that's a much better fit. Presumably. The big problem is Beal's no trade clause, of course. And, of course, Jimmy Butler doesn't want to go to Milwaukee. So the big question is, like, what are you doing to get Beal? You're sacrificing Chris Middleton to the altar of, like, the Bradley Beal gods. And I don't know, like, is Bradley Beal going to move the needle that much next to Dame Lillard? He's a nice fit next to Dame, I guess, but they don't scare anybody. Whereas Middleton, at least, the length, the know-how, the institutional knowledge, I don't know. But I think he'd be a better fit than Butts because he can shoot. So, a bit handy. Are the Lakers in any way dangerous this year, Jim? Yeah, nah. The Lakers stink! God, they're a tough watch. Like, once they sort of maybe incorporate Dorian Finney-Smith a bit better, it sort of helps. But this sort of Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui, AD, like Dorian Finney-Smith played 22 minutes today and went 0 of 3 against the Clippers. And outside of that, Bronny James had his 2 minutes, I'm just saying. But Dalton Connect is sort of like, been solid-ish. They don't scare you. Right? There's nothing really scary about that Lakers team. Let me know what you reckon. Because if you even look at like the sort of, I don't know, even like the advanced stats, right? And you sort of go, okay, stats are for nerds. We get that. But by the same token, the sort of advanced scoring-ish sort of stuff, even simply just like if you go defensive rating, you're like, are we afraid of the Lakers? Like, no. They're ranked 24th in defensive rating. They're shit. It's like, oh, well, their offense must be fucking gangbusters. No. It's 13th. Right? And even if you go like the last sort of month or so, like the offense is just like still there. It's just gross. The Lakers is like offense is 14th the last month. And in defensively, it's like the same sort of thing. They're fucking cratering. They're up to 21 in the last month. But no one should be afraid of the Lakers. They're 22 and 18. Like, yeah. I'm not afraid. Unpopular opinion of the day. It's maybe that, but deal with it.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
To bash on like the LaMelo stuff, LiAngelo is proof that you 100% need mates in your life that tell you when you look like a fuckwit. Right? Like, he looked like Timu Elf. Like, at some point, you go, hey, am I getting this fit off? And they're like, mate, you're wearing a bedazzled beanie, you fucking idiot. What are you doing? Right? That's LiAngelo, good on him for making his money, having a sick rap song. Like, great. But you look like a bedazzled beanie baby. Like, the stupid fucking sunnies. You look like a fucking idiot. Like, you got to have at least two mates in your life just go, yeah, nah, what are you doing? Don't fucking wear that. You look like an idiot. That's all you need. Just saying. And the other unpopular opinion today is actually a bit more serious. Gids. He needs to score a little bit more, doesn't he? It's just hitting a point with Gids where offensively he sort of gets in these little ruts. And over the last few games, last 4 games, he's gone 2 of 12, 3 of 8, 3 of 7, 0 of 2. They've lost all of those games. And he's not scored in double digits, obviously, in those 4 games. And he'd had like a nice little run just before that. So it's kind of weird that the 3-point shooting, he's gone 1 of 6, 1 of 2, 0 of 2, 0 of 1. You need to sort of kick it up a notch. The turnovers are still a bit of a problem. He's averaging 3 a game so far for the month of January on almost 6 assists. Not a great assist to turnover ratio, but the rebounding has been good. The points, though, have just dropped off. It's down to 9 per game for this month, where he was up around 14 in December, and 11 basically in November. So just want to see a little bit more Gids go bang on offense. All right, finally, very quick Outback Takehouse. It's Monday at Outback, and you know what that means? Oh yeah, on the way home from the bloody cricket last night, walking through the mean streets of Collingwood, mate and I just kicked a wombat to death. No, we didn't. That's bloody horrible, isn't it? We just found one on the side of the road, brought it home, chucked it on the barbie, and boom, off you go. Roasted wombat. It's really good as a hungy. So you chuck it in the ground, cook her up, boom. Delicious hungy wombat, only at Outback. And today's flame grilled take is Boston are broken and should trade for Jimmy Butler. Only at Outback. That is the, if you can't, well, no, he can beat him, so he's also beat him and he's going to join him. What do you reckon? That would be funny. Nah, he's not exactly what they need, but it's kind of the thing about the Bucks. Like, I don't like him going to Phoenix. I'm like, go to fucking Milwaukee. Like, if you want to upgrade, just go, cool, I'm going to go hang out with Dame and Giannis, and we're going to have a crack at fucking the Celtics. That'd be way more fun. Don't be a coward, Jimmy Butler. Don't be a bloody coward. All right, let's take a quick break. Be back with Australian Player Watch right after Hammer.
This is Shane Heal, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, that's it. It's time for NBA Straya's Australian Player Watch for a big weekend. It is Monday, January 20. So let's recap what the Aussies got up to on the weekend, shall we? Why not? That's what we do here on NBA Straya. Let's start with Box Hill Benny. Ben Simmons had a big matchup against the Lakers. The Lakers. They lost. Benny wasn't great either. He had the 6 points in 27 minutes, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, a block, a steal, 4 fouls. Good, not great. He went 3 or 4 from the floor. That's all right. And then copped a did not play coach's decision in the shellacking that the Nets copped at the hands of OKC on Monday. That was because I believe it was a back-to-back. And Benny is going to sit out the back-to-backs because of his back. Josh Giddey, giddy up. Didn't really giddy up this weekend. They had a big stinker of a weekend, did the Bulls. They lost both their games to Charlotte and Portland. Gross. You can't be losing those games, Chicago. And Gids has been a bit of a problem, I think, on the offensive end for the Bulls because he's been a bit quiet. In 26 minutes against Charlotte and his mate, Josh Green, he's going to pop up again in a second. Gids managed 6 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 turnovers. Brutal. 3-7 from the floor, and it was even worse today against Portland, and they lose that one, 113-102. He played 29 minutes, went 0 of 2 from the floor. Yeesh. 0 of 1 from downtown. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block, and 2 turnovers. Minus 15 in 29 minutes in a game that you lose by 11. Not ideal. Greeny in that win over Gids. Was it 125-123? Charlotte won. Chaos game too. The way that ended was awesome. Greeny played 30 minutes. He had 3 or 4 from the floor, 2 or 3 of which were from downtown. So he ends up with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Not a bad game for our man Greeny. Then, of course, the massive one for the weekend. That's right. Johnny Furphy's 1 minute. No. Nah, Furf did get out there for the Pacers in their big win over Philly, 115-102. He got out there for 1 minute. He put up a string of zeros. Like he's some sort of robot, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But he was a +2. So just to break up the binary there. On your Furfs, Johnny Tins. Now, of course, the big one on the weekend was Dyson Daniels was huge in the overtime win over the Boston Celtics. Not only did he clamp, you want me to use these clamps? That's right, clamps of Dyson Daniels, a great barrier thief up against Jason Tatum and those Boston Celtics. He put the clamps on Tatum at the end of the regulation there. Finishes with 23 points as well, does Dyson. That's right, the vacuum cleaner he calls himself. Maybe. 23 points. That's his third highest scoring game of the season. He went 11 of 14 from the floor, 1 of 3 from downtown, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, 5 turnovers, but you get that on the big jobs. But that's an awesome game. Hit the ceiling shot as well down the stretch, which was massive for the Hawks, who are now a remarkable 6-1 against the top 3 teams in the East this year. They are afraid of nobody, and Dyson Daniels is a big part of that. Then another highlight for this year because Jinglin' Joe Ingles. That's right, the pride of Happy Valley. 124-117. The Wolves lose to Cleveland. Yes, it's a shame, but you get that. Cleveland. That's right. He got out there for 9 minutes, though. He didn't do too much today, Joey. That's a season high. 9 minutes. And he went 0 of 1 from the floor for 0 points and 1 foul. So that's 9 minutes of cardio, basically, for Jinglin' Joe Ingles. Jeez. It's a rough one. Patty Mills as the Utah Jazz. It's a soft J. He played 9 minutes as well in that loss to New Orleans. They lost 136-123. 4 points. Patty managed 1 of 2 from the floor, 1 of 2 of which were from downtown. So ends up with 1 at the line as well. 1 rebound and 2 assists for Patty there too. Now, no Jock Landale in the big loss for the Rockets. No, they got a big win, didn't they? They had a big win. He was out for personal reasons, unfortunately. So hopefully everything's all right with Jock. Houston, as I've sort of hit on time and time again on NBA Straya, their center rotation, yeah, they beat the Blazers 125-103. What am I talking about? I was talking about the Denver game the other day. And no Jock Landale with personal reasons, but they also still have like a pretty solid center rotation at the moment with Steven Adams playing 17 minutes in that Portland game. And we did at least get Duop Reith in that game, just saying. So Jock Landale misses both the games in the weekend for the Rockets, did not play personal reasons. But let's go to Duop. Duop, boo up, duop up, Duop. Duop Reith, the Grim Reither himself. He played 6 minutes in that Rockets game. He went 0 of 1 from the floor. He had 1 assist, 0 points. And then Copter did not play coach's decision against Giddey and the Bulls today. Bit of a tough one there for Duop as well, I'll tell you. Jack McVeigh down in the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. He had 11 and 6 in their loss to Austin, the Austin Spurs. Luke Travers still out with his ankle injury for both the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Canton Charge. Aussie Matty T, Matisse Tybal still out with his ankle sprain. Dante Exum still out with his wrist for the big one. Alex Dukas, that's right. Dukas, mate. Dukas, mate, he shined. Dukas, mate, he shined. How good was this? In a 127-101 win over Brooklyn, Alex Dukas. I'm going to keep on doing it. Alex Dukas, in only 5 minutes, he has a career-high 9 points. He was massive. He went 3 of 3 from downtown. That's right, 3 of 3 from 3. 3 for 3 from 3? Yeah, not bad. 1 rebound, 1 turnover, 2 fouls. That is obviously a career high for Alex Dukas, considering he only made his first bucket last week. That's huge, so good on you. And that is the Australian Player Watch for the weekend on NBA Straya. All right, now it's time for an Andrew Gay's Grey Mamba Award for Outstanding Achievement in the Field of Excellence.
Andrew Gay's Grey Mamba.
Outstanding achievement in the field of excellence. Oh, yeah. This one's not about Jimmy Butler. It's not even about Alex Dukas, mesh. But Ant-Man became the 3rd youngest player in NBA history to score 8,000 points. Not bloody bad. Only LeBron James and KD reached 8K at a younger age than Anthony Edwards. And then the other one is a bit of Josh Giddey. So I sort of talked about his offensive game just having a bit of a lull, bit of a rough patch. There was a very cool stat though. He is 1 of 4 players so far this season to have 400 plus points, 250 plus rebounds, and 225 plus assists. The other 3 players are Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Domantas Sabonis. Not bad company. He can play. Just saying. All right, how about a Patty Mills Game Day Baller Game Day Twitter check-in? Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Has Patty done some posting? Let's find out. Patty. No. That's a shame. Who has done some posting? Let's find out. I think we saw a bit of... I reckon... Kids. Giddey. Josh Giddey. Bang. Oh, no, that's just the cool Bulls one. What about Dyson? He's got to do something. There we go. Dyson Daniels, you legend. Ooh, there's a nice skyline of New York. Down there. Ooh, I know where he is. It's a good spot. On you, Dyson. Good shit. All right, let's do some game previews for Tuesday. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's it all going? Oh, yeah, not bad. Good weekend. Really fun one. The cricket with the squid on Saturday was like particularly fun at Marvel. Like the 5 p.m. start was really good, so I didn't finish too late. We were out of there like around 8 or whatever on the train home, and boom, a couple of jars at the bloody cricket, and then smashing a million tins out in the bloody heat, watching the stars on Sunday night. Remember, with all the picks, these all go up on Dabble, so if you click the link in the show description, if you are of the betting persuasion, you want to follow all the ones that I'm doing, boom, these are all there. Click through on the link below, or just like in one of the descriptions or in the videos that we do post every morning, and just follow along. Code NBA Straya. That's how we do it. All right, let's do some picks for tomorrow. We have Dallas at Charlotte. Interesting one, right? So I just mentioned Charlotte without Brandon Spindles Miller. Dallas looking pretty good after a good win over OKC, sends their best player. Dallas are 4.5-point favorites. I think I want to take Charlotte, but without Miller, I just don't think I can. Dallas have proven pretty resilient. That was a good win over OKC, and it feels like, that OKC team versus this version of Charlotte, Dallas will probably, with Kyrie in tow, be able to get a win there. Let's go Dallas. I don't feel wildly great about that one, but Charlotte without Miller just throws a bit of a spanner in the works. Detroit at Houston. It's a Thompson's Bowl. That's right, the Thompson twins, Amen and Orsar, going up against each other. The Houston Rockets are 7.5-point favorites at home against the Detroit Basketball Pistons. I'm taking Houston because they are, Detroit are good. Detroit are fun. But Houston are awesome. And it's a bit of a tough one for Detroit, I think, on the road to get by this Houston team. Houston do have like a little bit of a thing every so often where they'll just be like, hey, are we going to pay attention tonight? And Ime Udoka's like screaming at somebody. And they're like, they lost to the Kings on the back-to-back later, like last week. But other than that, the only two teams they've lost to, the last 3 teams they've lost to prior to that game were the Celtics, the Wolves, and the Heat. And before that, the Thunder. In between that, there's a lot of wins. So I think we can go the Rockets pretty handily. The Thompson twins going at it, though, that's pretty fun. Let's go. Minnesota at Memphis. This is also another really good game. Ja Morant versus Ant-Man. Ja Morant, though, I think there was some news sort of floating around about Ja. Is he going to play in this one? He missed his game the other day. Yeah, he sat in the Spurs win, which is why it was so good. He was missing with a foot. So we'll see what happens. I think Memphis are very good. They're 3.5-point favorites against Minnesota. I think Memphis are probably still too good. If Ja plays, definitely they're going to win. So let's go Memphis. Then we have Atlanta plus 6.5 in New York. The way that the Hawks are playing, I am taking the Hawks plus 6.5. Jalen Johnson's back. Dyson Daniels is just causing all sorts of havoc. Should be a pretty fun defense off. But Trae Young in MSG. I'm just going to go the Hawks with the points. Plus 6.5 for the Hawks. What did I say? 6-1 against top 3 teams in the East so far this season. That's awesome. So let's go the Hawks plus 6.5. Phoenix at Cleveland. This is another really fun one. You know that KD and Booker will ball out. Phoenix are getting 8.5 points in Cleveland. Cleveland without Evan Mobley in their big win over the Wolves. I'm going to take Phoenix plus 8.5. I think they can probably keep that one close against Cleveland. Between the scoring of Booker and KD, you think around the edges they might be able to get that one done. And then finally, Boston Golden State. I told you there's some good games tomorrow. How good is this? Golden State are 7.5-point underdogs at home. The thing is, without Draymond, I just don't want to take the Golden State Warriors. Steph, I think, is also questionable. So while I can, I think I will take the Boston Celtics minus, what did I say? 7.5. So I think Boston, they should get the zinger back, I think, tomorrow. A little bit of a readjustment, but I think Tatum and Brown, after that embarrassing loss to the Hawks, get back on the sort of winner's side. Because it's kind of the thing with all the sort of panic about Boston. They haven't lost back-to-back games for like a month, basically, right? When they lost to the Sixers and the Magic. So they probably should bounce back and win this one. It is a long trip, but I think they get it done. It's more about the Warriors than it is about the Celtics, I think, that one. So let's go the Celtics, -7.5. And that's it. Done for today. That was a good weekend. I guess a programming note for this week, because it's the Australia Day long weekend, I'm away. So I won't be doing a show the 26th. And I'll be doing a preview show Friday morning as well, because I'm going to be in the car. So yeah, just anyway. But we'll be here for the rest of the week, no problems. It's all good, just saying. Be a short one on Friday, a big weekend preview, and then we won't be back until the following Tuesday. Got to spend a bit of time with the squids and the missus before squid number 1 goes back to school and all that sort of gear. He's up at my parents' place this week, which is pretty fun. So yeah, I've only got one kid for 4 days. He bit another kid at daycare today as well, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, but we'll be back tomorrow for you as well. We'll be in the fancy studio. I reckon producer Gerald is back, which is fun. In the meantime, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, Facey, IG, YouTube, TikTok, because we've still got it over here. That's good. I'll do the power rankings this week. We'll also do the mid-season awards on tomorrow's show, I reckon. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm not entirely sure, but one of them. Get around NFL Straya. Myself and Gaz will be recording that. It's going to be awesome. What a crazy divisional round it was in the playoffs. NFL is rolling. Cricket Today podcast. The boys got around all the BBL stuff ahead of the BBL finals. Subscribe to that if you like your cricket. Football Today podcast for your soccer. Hold all tickets for your GGs. And, of course, the AFL Today show with Muggins over here. Back very, very soon. Check a rating and review on all of those on your Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, whatever app you use on the Android phone. Rate, review, star, subscribe, all that good stuff. It does help out. I don't ask for anything except that. If you haven't rated or reviewed it, you're taking the piss. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song, as well as House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinated Gold Mines, Ramshackle Army, iOS Extra, Green, and Dozers. They're behind all the tunes you hear throughout the show. Smash them all on Bandcamp, Triple J Nerf, Face, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. NBA Straya supports Australian bands, so should you. That'll do us for today. I've got to get out of here. It's already pretty late, and my voice is a bit screwed, so we might not hear from Dally until later in the week. All right. That's it. We'll catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And later, Hosanna!